Like, Scoob, what's our favorite TV show?
Scooby-Doo-Doo! It's so bad. Hey guys!
Hey guys.
So today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of doing background, also known as extra work or audience work.
Nice.
Yeah. So let's start off by talking about what each of those two things exactly is. So have you ever done background work or audience work?
Yeah, so I've been in a TV show as like, I guess it would be background, and I've done a movie as in the background. So in the TV show, I was just like an audience for a concert, and then in the movie, I was in the congregation of a church.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how audience work and background work is technically defined is audience work is when you're hired to sort of fill in the audience for a reality TV show, game show, sometimes for a performance, anything that's going to be like on live TV. Background work is when, say, like if you're on a zombie on The Walking Dead, or if you're someone in the crowd on Nashville. Like, it's people that don't have particularly huge importance to the scene, but, you know, other people like exist in events that happen in our lives, so they're the other people that are just in the background. So hence the reason we call them background people.
So I have a question. So is there such a thing as a featured extra?
Yes, so a featured extra would be someone who either might have a line or two, or someone who might have a reaction shot, someone who's identifiable in a scene that's happening.
Okay, cool. So I've done that too.
So,
and I've done audience technically.
yeah.
So.
We've, you know, done all of that.
Anyway.
Okay, so first off, we're going to start off with some of the pros. So for me, and I'll start off with something that's not necessarily controversial, but I have a different opinion than most people would necessarily have on it, is the fact that you can get paid to do it. So for me, anytime I would have downtime from like my part-time job, or if, you know, we were on a break, like I would fill it with days of doing either background or audience work, because can sometimes, especially if it's a game show or reality TV, could be an easy couple of hours. All you have to do is really sit there and enjoy, and you get paid to do it. How awesome is that? Now, I won't say exactly how I find these, unless if you are an actor who is trying to get into any audience or background work when things finally open back up. You can message us on here and I will let you know. But the only reason I'm not telling you guys is because you have to be an actor. They do ask for a headshot and all your actor information in order to be a part of this. You can't just be like, oh, I want to get paid to be on a TV show, because unfortunately it doesn't work that way, because some people do have to pay to go to these shows. But yes, I've been an audience member for a bunch of game shows. I actually got to see Christina Aguilera play live. I got paid to see that. Oh my god, it was the best day ever. I've gotten to see some talk shows, and yeah, it's really, really fun. And then for background work, like the nice thing, especially about background work, is the fact that you can get paid a lot of money just for being there for a day. Sometimes you can even get booked for multiple days for the same show, and it's a pretty nice paycheck. But the part that I'm getting to that is kind of controversial for people is some people say, or actors say, do not make it your day job. And for me, even though I can understand where they're coming from with that, because if you make it your day job, then it's kind of like you're not focusing on like really honing your skills to be the actor that's, you know, the main part of the scene. You're just stuck in the background. And a lot of people will say like, you're better than that. Don't say that, you do background work. But for me, because I want to work as an actor full time, it gives me time to do that. And maybe I'm not doing it on the highest level, but I'm still doing it however I need to do it. And especially being an actor, you know, it can be hard to find jobs, you know, all the time, especially ones that pay really good. So it's a nice way to get a little bit of chunk of change every now and then and fill in any gaps you have in your schedule. So I think it's great. Other people might disagree with me, but that's just my opinion.
So I have a question. So like, what was like your best day of like working background? Like, how many hours did you work and how much approximately did you get paid? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I'm sort of torn on that, because a part of me wants to say the best day was the day that I got paid the most, but at the same time I want to say the best day was when I was like one of those featured people, or I would go and every time I'm on a show I would go and watch it back and I'd be like, oh my god, that's me. I don't know. I honestly, okay, background versus audience work, I think my favorite day for background was the Goldbergs because I only worked 9 hours, and I forget what episode it was. I'll maybe put it in this description for you. But I watched back the episode and I actually saw myself behind the main character dancing. I was like, oh my god, that was awesome. Of course, that's not even counting the show that I did way back when with my best friend that we actually had a little, view of just me and her, and it was like, I feel famous. But as far as audience work, oh my god. A couple of years back, I got to be a part of the show 30 Nights of Halloween that Freeform does every year, and it was amazing. I was so happy I was there, and mind you, I found out about it last minute. It was just great. It was absolutely amazing. I think I was there for maybe like 4 or 5 hours, and it was great. I had a blast. It was fun. I just had to sit there and enjoy. I was happy. I didn't care. I was like, okay, this is fun.
So, that's really cool. But I really wanted to ask too, isn't it, like, for me, my experience, like, it was just really cool to see the sets, like, the sets and stuff.
It really is.
Like, is that something that's good, or can you, like, learn from that, or?
Honestly, that sort of leads me to another pro I personally have, because I feel like, yes, of course, being a background or an audience member, you're not really as much a part of everything that's going on as much as the main characters. But if you're paying attention, you can sort of see how things work on set. So you can see, like, okay, how many camera people do they have? What angles are they shooting? See where all the directors, how are they directing the scenes that are going on, and how the actors work off camera, because that's obviously something you can't do when you're watching the shows that these people are on. So it's kind of nice to see people, being in real life essentially, and how they do stuff behind the scenes, and it's really cool, I think. And you can also get a taste of, like, okay, how many times are we going to do a scene? How the director is going to make each scene different to decide which scenes they like best. And I feel like I'm rambling. My brain is, like, off right now. I have energy, but my brain is off.
That's fine. You can always edit it too.
Yeah. I'm just trying to get a decisive thing of, like, what I'm trying to say without, like...
Maybe just ask the question again?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, one of the cool things that I really noticed about being on set, and, like, one, like, thing I actually learned, like, when I was doing my acting, was, like, how quiet actors talk. Like, is it really good to be on set? Like, do you learn stuff?
Yeah, I would say that's another pro for me personally. Even though you're a background person or audience person, I think it's really cool to do that, so that way you can be on set, because even though you're not a big part of what's going on, you still get to experience it and learn from it. So you learn, like, okay, when people say quiet on set, they really mean quiet on set, like no words whatsoever. And it's kind of like behind the scenes of movie magic. Like, you get to see all the things that go into what's going on in the filming process that you don't necessarily know about as, an audience member when you get to just watch it on TV. So there have been a number of times where I'm like, okay, I might find little things of, like, oh my god, this person's using a stunt actor for that, or, oh, they did this scene 5 different times, I wonder which one's going to make the final cut. Stuff like that. And I think it's really interesting, and it can be really useful if you're paying attention. So I think just because you're a background actor or an audience worker doesn't mean that you can't learn stuff while being on set.
Cool.
Another pro that I personally have found is when you do this stuff, you can find it really easy to network. There have been so many times that I've gone to either a TV show that I was being a part of for that day, or a game show or something, and I've met a lot of other actors that have given me tools that I use now just from meeting them. Because the very first TV show I worked on, or it was a game show, and I started talking to this person, and they're like, oh, are you a full-time actor? I'm like, no, this is my first time doing this, and I've been trying to find gigs, blah blah blah. And she actually told me, she gave me this email, she said, email this person, and if you want to do more audience work like we just did that day, they'll send you emails and you can tell them when you're available and they'll sign you up for stuff. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome. I have got at least maybe like 10 jobs from that one woman just telling me of that email to send stuff to, and I cannot tell you how many checks I have gotten, how many very nice checks I have gotten from, it's just amazing. And even then, like, there are times where I've met people doing extra work and I see them in other shows. I'm like, oh my God, I know that person. And it's just like a really cool feeling to know that, you know, you've worked with people and you get to sort of broaden your horizons from there and get to do even more stuff and keep the cycle going. And I think it's a really cool thing. So especially in acting, it's very, very, very important to network. So it's really cool.
It just helps to be there. As they say, you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you get a haircut. So just hang around the set.
Oh yeah. Which that is another thing. Even though, yes, people harp on the fact that if you do it all the time and you make that your day job, then you're never really going to get anywhere. But even though, yes, this doesn't happen to everyone, so don't just hope that this is going to happen to you. But I remember when I first registered for Central Casting, if you know what that is, great. If you don't, it is not an agency necessarily, but a place you can go to get hired for background work for like TV shows like on FX and Fox and all those types of networks. And they actually told of people that started with them and have actually become super famous, like Vin Diesel and Melissa McCarthy and people like them. And I think it's just so amazing because, you know, they did it so much, and obviously they did other things on the side that, you know, people took notice of them and people saw that there was something special in them, and look at where they are now. So I think
it's like the saying came out right out of Central Casting. That's literally like a thing. Central Casting, that's where that's from.
Yeah,
that's where that comes from.
So I think it's just very important to do literally whatever you can to make sure you are on a set, on a screen, whatever it is, just be there, and it'll make all the difference, I think. So yeah.
Cool.
Now, to start off with my cons. So as we kind of said with that, making, you know, everything in the background part of your daily or as part of your day job, you know, again, it can lead you to not get noticed sometimes, which is unfortunate, and it doesn't let you really hone in your technique because, yes, technically you are acting, but for most of these things, you don't have to do much to act. Usually you're just kind of there, which you don't really want if you want to become, you know, A-list actor. Now, another major con is the fact that when you do all this extra work and background work or audience work, you actually don't get credit for it. So what I mean by that is usually when you do a job or a gig, you get a credit for it. So you can put it on your resume to say, I played this character in this. But it's very much frowned upon when you do that with audience work because, again, you're kind of just in the background. So you're not really doing much acting. You're not of really any importance to what's actually going on. So that is sort of a sucky thing because I know for me, because I've done so much acting or background work, I can't put any of it on my resume, so it's kind of like, my resume is kind of empty. And then I have all this background work that I have nothing to show for, except maybe a couple paychecks every here and there. So it's like, you know, it kind of has its things where, yes, it could be good, but at the same time, when it comes to really making a career out of your acting, it's not super helpful in that sense. Also, another big thing, and then this is especially for my newbies, they will tell you this, but just to really like get it into your brain, when you're on these shows, I know it's super, super exciting to be like, oh my God, I was on the show. But until it airs, you are not allowed to say or do anything. And when I mean that, I know several people, or I've heard several horror stories of people posting a picture of like, oh yeah, this is the show that I'm on today, or they like say the show that it's like, you can't do that. And I mean, at least like when you're cast in a bigger role of it, usually it's the same process, but even then sometimes they'll kind of let you like maybe leak out information, or they want to do it, especially for smaller project, on a publicity standpoint, they'll be like, oh, we want to get the word out that, you know, you're on this, or for branding purposes, whatever it is, so that way more people can watch it. But in terms of all these shows that you could do this stuff for, it is a big no-no. I remember the worst story I heard of, I actually heard of when I went to register for Central Casting here in LA. Apparently, someone was on the show, or on the movie, I think it was one of the Batman movies, and they leaked who Spider-Man was supposed to be in the movie, and they got in so much trouble. They got fined. It was either $3,000 or $3 million. I was like, just because the movie wasn't out yet, and they knew who was playing the character, and obviously the public was not supposed to know that. So when I say don't say anything, I mean don't say anything. Ever. Like, my family will ask me all the time, like, oh, what show were you on? Who did you see? I'm like, I literally cannot tell you that information, because if anyone finds out, if someone traces my phone and finds out that I tell you, yeah, I'm gonna get fined a lot of money. So, like, ever. Like, wait until it airs. Once it airs, then you can, say all the things. But until that happens...
Yeah, just keep it quiet.
I know for me it's
these people are trying to make their living too, so just help them out a little bit. Just be nice. Keep it to yourself for a little bit. Be patient. You'll be able to tell everybody at some point. Just wait a little bit. So I have a little, like, my thing, my personal con with, like, the stuff I've done is, like, the days are just super long and you're really not doing anything most of the day.
Yeah.
So if you're there for like 12 hours, you're really only doing something for maybe like 2 hours of that time. So if you do it, bring something to do for sure. Bring water, bring food, because sometimes they don't provide food, it just depends.
Or sometimes it's cold when you get there, and me personally, I'm not a fan of cold food half the time.
So just bring like a lunchbox and like a book to read or something, and be ready for a long day. And
usually a change of clothes, because there have been a couple times I've worked on sets where we're outside and then it gets freezing, and then I'm like, I am not dressed appropriately to be going home at this time. So, my ladies, definitely a different pair of shoes. You will thank me for this later. I cannot tell you how many times, like, okay, my very first background job here in LA, I worked on the show Mayans MC for FX. It was a 14-hour day. I didn't get home till 6 a.m. the next morning after my call time, and I had these heeled boots on, and it felt like we were in the middle of the desert because there was gravel everywhere. I cannot tell you how much my feet were killing me afterward. So do yourself a favor, pack some sneakers or some really comfy shoes, because it will save your life, literally. But I will say, like, even on the time I was at the Goldbergs, like, yeah, I was there for 9 hours, but I only did anything for like 3 of them. Like, for 6 hours of the day, I was sitting in a holding room, and I was just like, okay, I don't know when we're gonna be doing anything.
It's just a lot of waiting around, so just be ready for that.
Yeah. But, I mean, again, sometimes that time usually sucks when you're not doing much, but sometimes it actually can be really fun, and you never know what it could lead to. So, always think positive, and, you never know what it can do for you. So, I always say, or I rule more in favor of doing it than not. That's just me. But, just giving you a little bit of my... Well, guys, that's what I have for you for pros and cons on audience work and background or extra work. So remember those in case you ever want to do them in the future.
Yep.
And, because we've both had our moments on TV, we figured, we'd share some with you. So thank you for staying till the end of this video. So now you get a little bonus. And with that, make sure you like and subscribe and comment, of course, with this video, and watch all our other videos if you haven't already. Tell your friends about us, because we want to get those subscribers up, so help us out.
We need help. We need your help.
Yes, we need
right
your
there.
help.
I see you. Subscribe.
Yes, so thank you so much again for watching this video. Enjoy those little bits of footage we have for you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my god, look who it is! It's my baby. Here we go. Woo! My baby!
Like, Scoob, what's our favorite TV show?
Scooby-Doo, of course. It's awful.
Okay, just say it.
Don't make me do this.
I thought you were going to say Scooby-Doo. Just say that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, right. Like, Scoob, what's our favorite TV show?
Scooby-Doo!